I'm gonna go over one of the times I was a bad boy and needed to be punished. Oh yeah, I was doing bad. So, I'm 13 years old or so, and I'm living in a program in Haverhill. Now, my mother's drugging the shit out of me still, and we've gone over that in the other videos. There's pills everywhere with me and my mother. But I am not choosing to do drugs at this point. I'm too young. When I get a little older, just cigarettes. Cigarettes are my main thing. The other kids are experimenting with pot. There's one kid that experiments with pot, and then there's this older kid that comes in at the end that's all about pot. But for the years I was there, until like the last 6 months I was there or so, it was very hard to get any pot for any of us. There was a next door neighbor and a person that would not sell to us. We used to try, but we knew that they had pot all the time. They weren't dealers, but they always had it. And we would try and try sometimes. I didn't really. I asked one time and they laughed at me, so that didn't work so much. I always had to find somebody else if I wanted to smoke pot or something. So I wasn't really able to smoke pot like often, like once every 3 months, maybe if I got lucky. One of the kids at the program be like, "Hey, come over here," and I'd say no, and then sometimes I started saying yes. Um, I did a lot of no. Anyways, I have not taken any cough medicine. I have not taken any weed for over 3 months. I am looking for cigarettes, and I'm looking for packs. I go to different stores, and I have these different ways I want to get packs of cigarettes, or I ask people for cigarettes or stuff like that. But at this time, I have my own pack buried underground. It's my pack. It's fine. Everything's going good. They want a drug test, and I'm not worried about it because I'm doing good now. I mean, sometimes I get worried about the marijuana or something like that because we get drug tested like literally every week. But they want a drug test, and I give it to them. And they bring me to the hospital for other stuff. My mother is definitely, after years, the program has no clue about my history or my past or what my medical illnesses are. Nobody has any idea. Nobody's telling them. The staff are seeing it, and some of the staff see me as who I am. The only kid in the program that wants to go to the church, and the only kid in the program that's willing to try to help them when things get difficult. So yeah. But as far as my mother is concerned and the people upstairs, they don't work with the kids. There's one like therapist that you see once in a while, and mostly it's pretty useless. Your complaints and whatever your problems are with medication pretty much fall on deaf ears because you don't have the right words yet. You got to tell them, like, have the right words to describe it. If you say you feel funny from your medication, that's not enough. Or your mother's giving you too much medication, or medication, is making you feel funny, or anything like that. That's not going to help you. So, anyways, I take the piss test, and they call me upstairs. And apparently, some other kid is called upstairs as well. Now, this was sent to a lab. This wasn't the eye cup that they used the last minute. This was like a scheduled lab one. They do this one more often. Sorry, they do the eye cup one more often, but this one is just once in a while. I'm not worried about it. I haven't smoked weed recently, so I'm not going to get the THC. That's usually my worry was popping for weed, but for some reason I wasn't really popping for. And with the cough medicine, I used to pop for PCP. Even when I had the flu, I took cough medicine one time, and I went to the emergency room just to get tested for the flu, and they're asking why I am failing for PCP. I said, huh? Oh, I learned this lesson in childhood. Cough medicine comes up in PCP at the hospital. I learned this one already, you motherfuckers. Nice try. I already learned this trick. Yeah, you doctors run urine with cortisone and cough and cold, or flu and cold, or NyQuil or Robitussin, and for some reason it says PCP on your paperwork. Okay, I know, I already can explain that one. But during childhood, I couldn't. So, anyways, I popped for PCP from cough medicine here or here, but I don't have to worry about that because I've done no drugs. It's been months and months and months and months. I know I'm good. They called me and this other kid up asking about ketamine. Now I say I know nothing about it. He knows nothing about it. Me and this other kid are like, What the fuck? What's going on here? We're yelling at each other, trying to figure out what the fuck, why we're being punished. Why, well, what the fuck is ketamine? Neither of us know what the fuck ketamine is. We're all going nuts. Our parents, well, my father and mother are just punishing me, trying to drug me more, give me more pills, and punishing me, and I don't even know what's going on. My mother's also, the only thing I remember is my mother giving me a butterfly pill out of the cabinet when I couldn't sleep. That's the only other drug I can think of. There's no other drugs being given to me other than a pill my mother gave me at bedtime, but that's not ketamine, I find out in adulthood. As a kid, I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Well, the other kid who popped for ketamine gets brought to the hospital. They do a full scan, nothing. He has no ketamine in his system. There was a false positive. He's off the hook. He's not punished. How about me? Do I get to go to the hospital? Do they test my blood? Do they clear me for this ketamine bullshit? Nope. Nope. My parents don't allow it. Apparently, the other kid, whoever he was crying to, they demanded, because he called some like attorney's office and he was calling all these people. He was super upset about this false positive and everybody trying to say that he was a drug addict. I was saying the same thing. I'm like, I don't even know what this fucking shit is, and you're telling me I'm a drug addict? And I'm only like 12, 13 years old. And of course, my mother is eating it up. Of course, he took ketamine. Of course, my 12-year-old son was going scoring ketamine. Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. My mother's going along with her fantasy bullshit. Yeah, my son takes ketamine, right? Yeah. He takes heroin at age 10, right? Yeah. My son, yeah, he's probably making crack in his fucking bed crib, right? Yeah, my son's probably 7 years old and has a crack set up in his fucking bed crib, I bet. Yeah, he's probably cooking meth in his crib. Yeah. And that's my mother's attitude. So fucking crazy. So fucking nuts. Meanwhile, the other kid is cleared and happy now. He goes, sorry for you, Zach. You should have complained more. You should have yelled at people more like I did. I'm like, when I yell at people, they hold me down and drug the shit out of me, buddy. You can yell at people. I yell at people and they start strangling me, choking me, drugging me, shoving needles in me. I don't get to yell at them and tell them, no, 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 don't hurt me. I don't get to say that. You get to say that. So the other kid got cleared. They got like blood work, all that. It was a false positive. They said that they couldn't find any drop of ketamine in his whole system, and it had to be bullshit because this was like right after the false positive. Me, my parents wouldn't allow it. They didn't think of it. They didn't care enough to look into it. Nope, they just let it. They just took the shit and piled it on their son's head, and then said, "Look at the shithead. Look at the shithead." Yeah, the other kid that had ketamine, they cleared it all up. But me, my father and mother, the way they cleared it up is they piled the shit on my head and said, look at the shithead. Look at our 12-year-old who does ketamine. Look at the shithead. Meanwhile, it's just a false positive. No 12-year-old's going scoring ketamine. That's the stupidest fucking thing in the world. And seeing as there's another kid who popped two at the same time, and he got brought to the hospital and cleared for it, it should make it very clear that this is a false positive. But yet, it's always going to be on my medical record now, probably as this 12-year-old does ketamine and PCP and all these, when all I'm doing is smoking pot like maybe 3 times a year. And that was at maybe the end. So 13, maybe 14, I probably was when I actually was able, somebody actually gave it to me. For the first many years, nobody would even give it to me. The other kids I didn't trust. When they tried to just share a joint and newspaper with me, I didn't want it. So that it wasn't really going like I was smoking it or even experimenting with it. And cough medicine, yeah, when I got really, really, when my mother was making up lots of stories, or when I was feeling really, really bad during winter, I really did want the cough medicine. That was a problem for me during childhood from the age of 14 to about 17. There was too much, absolutely too much. But there was also way too much neurological activity before that. And if I didn't take the cough medicine, I don't know how I would have dealt with a ruler to the face. I probably would have had to kill my mother or something. I don't know how most children would deal with this type of abuse, being poisoned, lied about, being smacked around, being trafficked, being having the doctors do horrible things to you on your mother's word because your mother wants to twist things all around. Like, for instance, your son just holds a match to slug slime, and next thing you know, you're having needles and drugs put into your child while he gets naked in front of strangers. Most children don't deal with that well. And in the process, I also was held down and given the same medication twice in the same hour because the staff members believed my roommate when he said I didn't take the medication. Meanwhile, my roommate's just playing a game. He's mad at me and he wants to punish me, so he's going to staff and making up a story and smiling and laughing. Meanwhile, the staff members love it. One of the staff members, well, one individual, there's always a couple people you can tell from the personality that shouldn't be working in these industries, and it's people who get rushes from seeing people in pain. Like there was this one lady in Lowell Treatment Center that used to smile when a child was in pain, hurting on the ground or something. But she would be upset if things were going good. She looked like the biggest bitch in the world when nothing's going on. But the minute a child's on the pain on the floor, she's smiling, grinning, getting so much joy from it. You see it. There's also an African American I knew in New Mexico that was a staff member that used to get the joy like choking out little girls in showers that are only 8 years old that are naked. It's a power rush for him. Little boys who are only 9 that literally have done nothing wrong. He just doesn't want to drink chunky milk. And so he's getting choked out on a couch. Or he literally just sitting there with a book just sitting there with a book and you threw a goldfish at the kid and the goldfish touched his leg. So now you got to strangle that. It's a power rush. It's stupid. There's no reason for it. There's no logic when an African American staff member is creating a game where he throws goldfish at the children, and there's only one rule. You get hit by a goldfish, you get choked out on the ground. If you look up from your book because another kid is screaming, you get choked out on the ground. And it's like a game of tag. He chokes out one kid, you look up, okay, you're released, okay, come over here, now I'm going to choke you out. And this isn't healthy. What do you do when your parents put you in these situations over and over and then lie to the people that are supposed to be helping you? What is the normal response? For me, it's forgiveness, understanding, try to get them to speak the truth, try to get them to go and handle their shit, have a heart about it. That's what I've been trying to do with them, but it's certainly not working. And there's so much evidence, proof, piles of paperwork that we could go if they could stop crippling me. If somebody could just get in a car with me, spend a couple years dealing with this, we would have all the proof we need to get me medical care. But my father doesn't want me getting better. He wants this hidden. He doesn't want to spend the next 2 years getting me better, going to get medical records, trying to track down who was helping me at age 7, trying to figure out what happened in New Mexico, get it documented, even though the New Mexico thing I was allowed to talk about. So that part is probably well documented. Plus, my father got money. I mean, that's pretty much why I'm allowed to talk about it, because my father got money for it. If there's no money in it for my father, he doesn't want me talking about it. That's simple.